Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Alberta News and Views. So, this morning, Vladimir Putin said that Western support for Ukrainian strikes deep inside Russia would put his country and NATO at war. Then, Justin Trudeau was asked about this, and you won't believe what he had to say. And it's really strange. Like, what a strange coincidence that Justin Trudeau and other world leaders say the exact same thing on the same day at pretty much the exact same time to the exact same question. Almost like there's strings attached to all of them. Listen to this.
Suddenly becomes allowed to invade and redraw lines on the map. And that's why Canada and others are unequivocal that Ukraine must win this war against Russia. And we will continue to be there to support Ukraine. And yes, Canada fully supports Ukraine using long-range weaponry to prevent and interdict Russia's continued ability to degrade Ukrainian civilian infrastructure and mostly to kill innocent civilians in their unjust war.
So just focusing on Canada, with all of the problems that we are all facing right now in Canada, this is the last thing that we care about, especially coming from the most unpopular, most corrupt, most unethical prime minister in Canadian history. Nobody cares what he has to say. Nobody. Not a single Canadian. Correction, 20% of Canadians care what he has to say, and only because they are on his payroll. And I'm going to show you an example of why none of us care, because we have our own problems and big problems. This from Better Dwelling. Canadian real estate fueling productivity crisis, quality of life to erode. This was from TD yesterday, September 12th of 2024. Listen to how bad things are going to get and are. Canada's economy went from struggling with productivity growth to an all-out crisis. That's the take from TD this morning, who warns the productivity crisis is worsening. Skewed incentives have reallocated productive investment to non-productive areas. Now, that is very important. Non-productive areas. Now consuming a larger share of the economy. If this persists, the bank warns that Canada will see further erosion in living standards, falling real wages, and a dangerous deterioration of public services. Now, what this means is we're spending way more than what the workforce is outputting. We got way too many people here on way too many social programs, and we can't afford to keep on paying it. So what the Trudeau government is doing is, of course, they're going to bring in 500,000 more people. Alberta, Danielle Smith just said, no, Alberta is full. We're not accepting any more people because we can't afford it. This is exactly what she is saying, what Danielle Smith is saying, what everybody is saying. And now TD is saying the quiet part that we've been saying for the last 3 years out loud. So Canada went from low to negative productivity growth. For those unaware or in need of a refresher, productivity is the efficiency of output, money. In economics, it's about how much value can be produced by each hour of labor. A more productive society means more revenue flowing, helping to boost incomes, living standards, investment in capital and infrastructure, and revenue to fund public services. Now, what that means is, like, if me as an individual, if I'm busy and I'm productive, I am making lots of money. So with all of that money, I can build nicer things, hire more people, and it's just everybody is prosperous. But if all of my money goes to unproductive things like feeding the homeless, that's not very productive. Or All of my money goes to infrastructure, or all of my money goes to taxes. All of these things are unproductive. The output is gone. So then because of that, everything erodes. That's what this is. A decline in productivity leads to the reverse, less cash flowing, worsening wage stagnation and public services. Ironically, a low productivity environment can lead to higher taxes as policymakers look to capture more revenue by increasing their share. Socialism does not work. Canada made progress through the 2010s, according to TD. It averaged annual growth of 1.2% for the decade prior to the pandemic. It's not huge growth, but any growth is better than the current environment. Chart 1, Canada's productivity performance has fallen steeply since the pandemic. Bang. Look at that. Look at that. Since 2019, it has ceased to expand at all, setting Canada apart as one of the worst performing advanced economies, not to mention in stark contrast to the United States, explains Bita Karanchi, chief economist at TD. She warns the issue is generally observed across most industries and there is no quick fix. However, one industry stood out: construction. Canada increasingly reliant on construction, where productivity growth has been non-existent. Now you think about Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland saying, we're the best in the G7. We got the highest investment rate on the planet right now. Canada is supposed to outpace the United States in growth. It's bullshit. So Canada no longer competitive for productive investment. TD warns that Canada is becoming a less competitive business environment. In the early 2000s, the country aggressively cut its corporate tax rate to outcompete global peers. It helped foster the investment boom seen in the decade before the pandemic. Stephen Harper. Since then, the rest of the world has caught up. One key shift was the United States slashing its corporate rate from 35% to 21% in 2018. Donald Trump. On top of its more aggressive tax credit system, the EU has also made cuts since the global financial crisis, ratcheting up the competition. Quote, with these changes abroad, Canada's average tax rate is now roughly in line with the United States and OECD average, but higher than Europe, explains Karanchi. The Bank of Canada warned the country's lack of productive growth is at crisis levels and needs to be addressed immediately. The OECD also forecasts Canada's per capita real GDP growth will be dead last among advanced economies for the next 40 years. That was based on pre-pandemic data too, which has since worsened. We're going to see taxes go up everywhere in all of our sectors to try and support this absolute failed government. And the only thing Canadians can look forward to is the fact that it's going to get worse before it gets better. What are all of these people going to do? Seriously. This is from the Calgary Herald. This is from today. Calgary grocery store staff begin using body-worn cameras as security concerns increase. The participating Real Canadian Superstore in the East Village and its adjacent Shoppers Drug Mart are part of a 3-month pilot project. Now, why are they doing this? Employees at a Calgary grocery store and pharmacy have begun donning body-worn cameras in a bid to reduce increasing incidents of violence. It's heartbreaking, and it is just insanity. We are full. Shut it down. We need to get control of our cities, our counties, our provinces, our countries, all of this stuff. I'm telling you, all roads lead to Western independence or provincial independence. This federal government needs to be dissolved so we can have complete reform and gain control of our lives. I will keep you updated with as much as I can when I can. All of you out there, like, share, and take care.